I wonder if it really is a flex for the side of BLG. I've seen Aiming playing it a little bit in solo queue, but not to great success.
Well, they're not even going to look at it. It's straight back to the Viego here. Taking that one away from Beishang, because that was huge for him in game number 2. LeBlanc picked up and said this has been first ban-worthy by both teams, and now Shanks is going to show us what he can do on this pick once more.
LeBlanc having 100% presence so far in our playoffs.
Yep.
And BLG going straight towards one of the go-to counters, bringing out the Lissandra. Lissandra Viego, really solid skirmishing coming out. Lissandra with the lockdown. Viego with the burst and the damage to find the kill and find that reset to keep taking over fights. So far, draft's already set up for really powerful mid-jungle 2v2s. And there it is, Hysterics. This is what I was saying. When your back is against the wall, when you need to pull out a win, you look at your coach and say, hey, I don't care how it fits in the draft. Give me this champion. Is it right? Is it wrong? You know, that's for you to decide on the philosophy of the draft. But I think it makes sense from a player's perspective of wanting to go towards something that you are fully comfortable on and something you believe you can impact the game with.
When it was the second most played in the regular season there, right behind the Gwen. Expect big things from BiuBiu, especially when you have the Lissandra lyric. We already know what this comp is building up to. While for WE, we get an Irelia, but we've already got a LeBlanc, so top lane Irelia definitely in the cards.
I mean, it's one of Breed's go-to picks over the years, right? The Fiora and the Irelia are two things he's always loved to go back to. Remember, Irelia did have a bit of a nerf coming in towards her W, both the damage that you do and the damage reduction later on in the game, so it's definitely there. I don't think it's massive in terms of being able to impact in this laning matchup. Should lose out early, but still, you have those windows where if you can get on the low minion, close the gap, and find that all-in trade where you can take advantage. At the level 6 mark, I think it becomes a bit more interesting where KEnnen having the ult can, have more ways to stun and disengage, but the Vanguard's edge, always availability for damage there, outplays with flash. Point is, Hysterics, I think we're in for a really high-octane top lane matchup once we get past that level 6 mark.
I can't wait for it because this game means everything. BLG already said backs against the wall, and the Cannon's got to get them through it while they're banning supports here in the second phase. Note that we have a triple support ban in total, with WE taking a full bottom lane away. So now bot is thinned out massively here, Lyric, and we already talked about that Ezreal. Are we finally going to see it in this series?
That's what I'm curious about, right? We have so many, 80 carries taken away. One thing that's gone through the radar is the Varus, which I've been watching other regions, right? Varus can be first picked and has been first picked in regions like LEC. We haven't been having such a big prio on it here. I think it's from the fact that we are playing quite a bit away from bottom side. Varus, I think, is quite fluid in that aspect, but still, they're going to go straight towards support first. They're going to pick up that Trundle, who I think Trundle Pillar is pretty good at being able to shut down picks like KEnnen, where to close that gap, you either need to commit something like a Rocket Belt or a Flash to really get it, unless you do have a good flank angle. And now we're going to see if the Ezreal does come out for aiming. You do have a lot of very mobile champions on the opposite side who have good ways of closing the gap, so that E can be so crucial to aiming, to being able to stay alive.
And something else that can add engage, potentially here for BLG, rounding out with the support. Lyric, they're looking at Leona, looking at the Rakan, both engage well.
I expect him to go towards the Leona. When we talk about comfort, we talk about what BLG typically play to. This is ppgod's comfort. He loves going towards his pick. You can, you have more of a frontliner than the Rakan would provide you, because if you look at BLG's comp, if they don't go towards something like a Leona, you don't really have a frontline. It can be quite harsh to play into. And now BLG have this composition with a ton of zone control, a ton of CC, and some nice damage to boot. Now for WE, do they go to it? Let's see, because Vayne historically being considered good into the Ezreal pick. We know Elk has already played the champion once.
Is he going to do it again? 5 seconds of Vayne. Elk rubbing his hands together. You know that that's going to get locked in, and there we go. The Vayne bottom lane, Lyric, I see WE scaling top, scaling bot. I see a lot of potential for a snowball game for WE in Game 3.
And once again, we've said it every game, and we haven't actually seen much action around it. You look at strong mid-jungle 2v2s. You look at Lissandra having the lockdown to set up for the Viego. You look at, I'd say, higher damage output coming out from the LeBlanc and the Zhao. Are we finally going to see more action on this lane? Who knows? For the side lanes, we hit on top side, I think, especially at the level 6 mark is where it comes online. Bot lane, I think, should be a little bit more boring in those early phases. Okay. We aren't going to see too much, but WE have tools to outplay some of the damage coming out from BLG side, especially the KEnnen we've already hit on the pit.
Where WE are looking to make the run from the bottom side of the bracket. I don't even know why I'm calling it bottom side, Lyric. It is the same as the top side, just different seeding, but it is on the bottom, so I'm technically not wrong.
That's right. I guess I don't know what else we'd call it, right? The other side of the bracket then.
Well, I like that.
Teams like RNG, teams like FPX, teams like LNG now is WE. I think they're just going to look for a ward. I don't expect them to commit too much to this from the fact that their jungler isn't here, right? Beishang being at base, picking up the sweeper after he did get his own ward on the top half of the map. And one thing we've already highlighted a little bit is that top lane matchup. Wouldn't be surprised to see Breathe play a bit more passively the first few levels. If BB does find good trades, typically want to play back farm with your E. I feel like once you do get that first back and you can get in lane with some Merc treads, that's where it becomes really hard for KEnnen, and Irelia should be able to find the all-in to just kill him. Let's remember that we talked about the Irelia nerf. KEnnen also did get a small buff on this patch to his Q damage, so a little bit more there for someone like BiuBiu who does love pulling out this champion.
Yep.
But we're going to be keeping our eyes on those top laners once again. But I feel like the series so far has really been defined by junglers, right? Sure. So far, we've had a mid laner and an AD carry pick up an MVP, but it feels like both junglers have been instrumental to setting up those carries, their carries on their side to getting ahead.
They've been benefactors off of the junglers, right, and how the teams have been going and progressing. So I think a really good point to raise, where junglers getting their own leads, setting up the plays, is something we need to keep watching out for, considering that it will be a rather bot to top side clear. And we haven't really seen much jungle top interaction in this series. Like when we've set up for the jungle proximity with top laners being so high, has been more about how these lanes have been going on their own. And BiuBiu right now pushing in the Irelia up in the top side before jungle can even be nearby.
We did have one dive in game one that came pretty later on into the game, but that has been about it, right? We've pretty much seen one side get ahead in the matchup. I mean, game two is a bit of a null factor because we saw Breathe go for the solo kill and, I mean, ended up just killing himself in the end. So, feels like this has been a bit of a spicier matchup, you know, not really needing junglers to get involved, and these top laners able to find their own advantages. But both pathing up there now. We do see Prio also in mid for the side of W. That is expected. Lissandra is a counter to LeBlanc, but still going to lose out to push in early levels. I feel like Lissandra definitely more of a nullifier to what LeBlanc does. LeBlanc still has an easy time looking for these trades. And speaking of trades...
Good setup there. ppgod going to take a back end of it, though, as Aiming's able to just only get autos. Bit of a surcharge in the top lane as Breathe gets a flawless duet, but dodged away by BiuBiu. Beishang now spotted out. And BiuBiu with the wave pushing up might just have to back off, while in the bottom lane, that's deep from ppgod, and the pillar's godlike. Missing clutches it and punishes ppgod for the overextension, while Beishang in the top side in the Herald pit where the Herald does not spawn. BiuBiu comes up and immediately flash in. WeiWei smites away the crab to get some healing, but Beishang can't get out as Breathe flashes over the wall. We got a skirmish early, but WE are getting blasted by this KEnnen. A double kill leads into WeiWei's third. Bot may have gone wrong, but BLG silence top.
And for BLG just punishing Beishang, Beishang showed on top wave, walked straight into river, but I feel like as Beishang in that situation, if you're going to try and set up for a top crab play of your own, you need to, you know, help Breathe push out the wave, walk into river with him, or at least have him to where he can hover, because we saw in that situation, Breathe wasn't able to get involved in the fight. Was over the wall, sure committed a flash, but still, the member's already so low. It's BiuBiu!
Yeah, he's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble. Flashes away. Luckily, BiuBiu kept the summoner, and now he must back. Has the teleport available, Lyric, but that's a good return from WE.
This is a great game 3 so far, with teams going punch for punch across the rift. BLG trying to take, you know, their future, their circumstance into their own hands with this one. We're going to replay, not sure of which one, is going to be the bot lane play as trades come out. We see the Zenith Blade come out from ppgod, but that pillar, like you talked about, being so clutch from missing to set up for the kill. And on this side, remember, we saw Beishang walking to river. I think he wanted to go for crab from the fact that LeBlanc is push, but Breed's over the wall. You already have members of WE getting so low, and 3 members of BLG are here. He flashes in, not able to guarantee any type of flawless duet coming out from that one, and then BLG are just able to completely take over this skirmish.
It was so great for BLG. 2 kills for the KEnnen top. He has a leeching Leer, Lyric. So, Riftmaker in the top lane for the KEnnen as a potential.
It does seem like that is going to be the play for him. Obviously going to give him a lot of good damage out in team fights. Ooh, we do finally get to see this. We've been talking about it a lot, but aiming 15 games on the Ezreal, 73% win rate, 9 KDA. This has been his go-to champion all split. We're going to see if he can fare better on it this time. Doesn't really help that you and your support kind of ran it in that last exchange with ppgod going down.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun time to bring this up, but I think important one at that, because Elk aiming, big Ezreal players. That's an all-in. Frozen Tomb on top of Shanks. Auto down for the solo kill. Zeka, the big man in the mid lane.
Zeka finding the window and taking advantage of it. Shanks, who's been having a phenomenal series so far, getting completely taken down by Zeka. Wave, not the best place either, but still, you're going to take that. Now going to come to lane with Sorcerer Shoes, so good bit of Magic Pen to set up for the plays. Thank God we do get a replay immediately, as we did come in on the end of that one. Sets up with the E. We do see that LeBlanc is low on mana. Straight to the W. Obviously does have the Aftershock available, so no real damage able to come out. Shanks not even having abilities to put down. And just really good knowledge of the limits of your champion when you are playing this Lissandra, to know that you have the damage, you have the ability to get this kill onto the LeBlanc.
I mean, it's just big because for BLG again, when this is such an important game for them, the fact that not only top through the skirmish, jungle got ahead, now mid Lyric. This is a really big early game, one bigger than we've seen. Already a 1,000 gold lead. WeiWei trying to influence that more as going in. Shanks is going to be baited here. The Glacial Path once again, but no tomb. WeiWei not going to Heartbreaker in. Shanks almost punished, but again, the early game continues.
And we're going to see BLG, okay, not going to be able to follow up onto Beishang right now. He's in his own jungle, but WeiWei's still looking for it. WeiWei has the Heartbreaker.
He does. Does he want to go for Beishang? Level difference here as Control Ward is controlled by BLG. Going to watch Beishang and Missing move together, but ppgod's on the way as well, Lyric.
We need to watch out for Shanks. I think right now Zeka's doing a good job of zoning him out from being able to walk over. And now BLG in a good spot with Shanks not able to walk around. Can walk in and contest this.
Zeka
but Braid is here.
And that's a good pillar once again from Missing. WE collapsed, but it's W in the middle of an area. WE can win this, but not if BiuBiu has his say of it. The Slicing Maelstrom follow-up great as Shanks now needs to evacuate. And Elk as well. Heartbreaker over the wall and Missing. Doesn't matter if you don't have a Frozen Thrall. He's on the run. Another great pillar, but BLG silenced the play once more.
I mean, still a 2 for 2 in the end for both sides.
It's true.
For BLG, it felt like the downfall that did make that not go so heavily in your favor, right, is the fact that Breed did just walk straight there. He was already on a recall, didn't need to blow his TP, to where BiuBiu coming in a little bit later, did still find a bit of, you know, oomph out of that ultimate, but we saw by the time he did really get in there, the skirmish was already kind of broken apart. The members were scattered, not able to do too much. So 2 for 2 in the end. Rift Herald up now, so we're going to start seeing both teams make their way towards the top sides, but this should just be WEs. WeiWei can start making his way up here, but ppgod will be quite late.
Yes, he will. BiuBiu on the side doesn't have a Slicing Maelstrom either. Look at his angle as Zeke is going to be shocked out first. Frozen Tomb is now available as Shanks wants to run away from this, but they turn on to BiuBiu. He's caught out without the rest of BLG. Zeka's trying to save it, but WE are grouped up with another great flawless duet. Zeka using his own tomb, but WE waiting for him to come out as they're getting low. ppgod and WeiWei trying to give this Viego some resets. There's number one. He's trying to turn it to Zhao. He's finally there, but won't get another one. ppgod's lost his jungler and lost his damn mind. Breed's gotten so many more kills. He's back in the game.
And we once again see BLG just funnel in one by one. I mean, your support is so far away from the play. I don't know how you think you can look for this. BiuBiu not even having the Slicing Maelstrom in that play either, so not going to provide too much, you know, damage out from this KEnnen. They get picked apart one by one, and the only reason BLG even close to come back into this is because of Viego, right? Viego, ridiculous champion, able to turn things around with that passive. We're going to see here, BiuBiu walks in, they're trying to just posture for the trade. I think they're trying to buy time for ppgod. Instantly gets turned on, instantly goes down, and now Zeka as well, committed with him. It's not a 4v4, you're not 4 men strong. You still did get some decent damage coming out from Zeka before going down. Set up for WeiWei to be able to clean some of these up with the damage he has available. Able to get a few resets, but still, you're going to see WE able to come out ahead in the long run. Does it look like on the bottom left hand of our screens that BLG will be the team to pick up the Rift Herald in the end. Yeah, so not the end of the world after that skirmish, and heck, I mean, it's 8-7 right now. BLG once again with an early game advantage. The player we're going to be keeping an eye on is WeiWei for 1 and 2 on this Viego. If there's a champion you want to be absolutely cracked, it is this guy.
It is definitely Viego, you're right. I want to point out that Breathe was able to pick up 2 kills in that last play as well. He's now 700 gold ahead of BiuBiu, who BiuBiu had a very big moment as BLG are waiting for Shanks and Missing. Support left behind because he can't do a damn thing. He's going to die here, and he's given another kill over to the Viego. Right in front of Dragon Lyric. That's good timing for BLG.
And WeiWei's about, you know, 14, actually almost 1,700 gold up. He's pretty close to being 1,700 gold up over Beishang. The only reason the gold is even kind of close is because every other role is where WE is ahead, but you're having such a big lead on WeiWei. He's gonna, I mean, he can back right now, probably pretty close to his second item break point as well. Ooh, that was definitely a little bit dicey.
We get to that point, Lyric. Get to that point with Breed now having a bounty and 30 CS lead where he hits that and he goes in, and maybe in the mid lane, Beishang and Shanks do the same thing. Audacious charge once again, but no Crescent Guard. Zeka's able to get out, but burns the flash doing it. This Dragon does go down to BLG. First Dragon very late again, Lyric, as mentioned.
I like that we have seen more action out of mid-jungle this time around, though, right? Sure. We've consistently seen at least a lot of skirmishes on Rivers. Aiming might be cut out.
We don't get time. There's a response flash from Elk, and the pillar just so good. Missing's Trundle is sexy.
Yeah, and WE using the fact that they had mid-prio, they'd made their way there, Missing able to more easily turn back down towards bot lane compared to ppgod, who was just, I think, in their own bottom side jungle. So having that two-man play onto Aiming, gonna burn summoners, and now should at least be able to get one played, if not two.
Well, let's see how far they go here. No response from anyone else. ppgod just having to sit here and watch. And Elk gonna do so well with the gold. 3-0 Vayne with the Noon Quiver already built. First item on the way here for this AD carry, and you know, while we talked about the Viego on the other team, a Vayne and Irelia who are fed, we know what can be done as we look at the action replay.
Yeah, goes in with the ult and Q's in immediately. Like we said, the fact that Missing here's first feels so instrumental. Not sure if a pro view was necessarily needed for that one, but still always nice to get.
Always nice. You got to flaunt it. Flaunt it if you got it. Like we get those split cams when it's Herald versus someone pushing a turret, Lyric. You know, we know what's going on that side of the map.
Oh, up. Pause. Is BLG going to look for this play onto Breathe? Breathe knows something's up. He smells something. I mean, even now Zeka hovering towards the top side. Now he knows. Oh, no.
Okay, he's deep and he just wants resets, wants to start getting up these stacks. As WeiWei versus BiuBiu, Slicing Maelstrom is available here. The flawless duet about to come out, but he doesn't get a chance. Zeka stops him as well. 3 versus 1. No chance in hell as WeiWei picks up yet another reset and opens up top side.
That one was so strange because you look at the mini-map. All of WE's vision is on the bottom half of the map. I mean, Wave has just been cleared by both mid laners around mid, so you don't know where Zeka is either. You don't see the enemy jungle around the bottom quadrant. It's like he's either clearing his top side camps or somewhere around top side. Breathe going in for the wave. Does get the wave pushed in, but still now you're losing another wave. You're giving over top lane turret. And it just felt like an unnecessary judgment call coming out from Breathe.
One's going to cost first turret blood, but WE already making a response onto Aiming in the bottom lane. Elk is shooting bullets into him while it is the jungle to pick up the kill. ppgod next on the menu. One last tank for Beishang. He somehow picks up the double. And WE strike true. Another mistake coming through from both sides here, Lyric, as Shanks attempts to defend mid after the play.
So 2 for 1 in the end on the bottom side of the map for WE. Not going to be, you know, the end of the world that Missing goes down because you're denying another wave to Ezreal and you're getting more plates onto Elk. So Elk only going to further that gold lead now, sitting over 1k gold up on Aiming. 3-0, 3 on the Vayne. We know how it's... You already have a pretty good composition at keeping some of the threats off of Elk. I feel like the 2 big ones you're really going to be looking at is Zeka and WeiWei, especially. If Zeka can just be able to get onto that backline, use that ultimate, lock Elk down, you have the damage to be able to follow up. The question is, can you get there? As we go straight into the replay Hysterics. And, I mean, they know where BLG is. They know they can make this play on bot side with numbers advantage. The Condemned does come out. I want to see how Missing goes down, taking the whole time as a flash, but, yeah. Was burning, does still end up going down, and like I said, not the end of the world for W. With the fact that their support goes down, they still did deny a lot from Aiming in that play, despite the fact that Aiming actually is even on CS.
Yeah, he is. But overall, Gold's even too. At 15 minutes into the game with Dragon coming up, Gold is once again even. Top side strong for BLG. Bottom side very strong here for WE, but apples and oranges at this point until we see your next fight, Lyric, because I want to ask you how you get set up for the Dragon, what we should be looking out for approaching this next objective.
I mean, the fact that BLG already here and have set up, I think looks pretty good. Zeka following up, but Shanks is going to be able to get away, so you've already kind of brute forced your way into having prio through bot side and being able to turn on the dragon. We need to keep our eyes on the fact that Rift Herald is going to be up as well. So this one can just be a bit of a trade. BLG being like, hey, we don't have control of top right now. We're just going to look to stack these Drakes, and WE looking for the opposite reaction of just getting back some gold, getting ahead in gold on the opposite side of the map. And it looks like that's what's happening, right? Because now you look at the mini-map, and the other members of BLG are defaulting down while Beishang is still waiting here.
I mean, this is a big play, a big effort onto BiuBiu. He has flash once again. Wind becomes lightning, will tag him, but maybe not. Just a quick dodge away to set up top turret while Zeka gets bottom lane. BLG now with 2 turrets. WE still aiming for their first one here, Lyric. They'll finally get it up in this top side, but just to note that BLG trading ahead, and you already mentioned, Dragon's going to be taken because of it.
But now Rift Herald's open as a TP does come out from BiuBiu.
This is secure mid turret as well. BLG will constantly be up by 2 turrets, and Missing has to back away.
Because now BLG don't have to just concede Rift Herald, right? They send BiuBiu mid straight away. They have mid prio. They're able to walk into River on top side. Sure, they're losing wave top, but I think for BLG it doesn't feel all too big of a deal for them. Going to be able to just walk straight to River, get this Herald, and hopefully get that back. You're potentially going to be wanting to put that one down towards... Actually, you already have all 3 outer turrets out, so it's pretty much just going to depend on the situation on where and when this Herald's going to come out. Maybe something like, you know, next Drake time, or if you win a team fight, there's an obvious lane that you can set it towards. So typically still being mid when you do see Heralds like this come out when all outer turrets are down, but we will keep our eyes on that one as WeiWei still being the big member to watch, but the fact that Riftmaker is done for BiuBiu, I think, is something critical to highlight. We didn't really hit on why he's doing it before, because usually it is a rocket belt, but I think BiuBiu is rationalizing the fact that it is a bunch of very low-range members on the side of WE, so you don't really need the rocket belt to close the gap, and you're going to be hoping to just get the maximum amount of damage possible coming out from that Riftmaker.
Especially, Lyric, if they jump into you. LeBlanc, Irelia, Zinzao, like, no problem. Don't have to even step out my front door. So BiuBiu at level 11 Kennen, 1.5 items strong here. I want to also pull out that we have mythics across the board where mythics are required. Blade of the Ruin King first for Aurelia already picked up, but the Manamune over something like the Divine Sundra, although aiming is pretty close to picking up that second item.
And another thing to highlight is the fact that it does look like Wits Ends are coming out across the board for WE as well. We can definitely see that Elk is making his way towards one.
True.
Breathe also sitting on a Negatron cloak right now. Wouldn't be surprised, but I'm going to pause. BLG just looking to steal away a Wolf Camp. Doesn't look like there will be too much more, because that's something to remember is, so they're going to drop Herald because they have the bot wave pushing. It also kind of distracts WE from looking to walk into jungle and contest this blue buff, and they will get the charge regardless. So I think nice play, nice decision on deciding to use that one coming out
Depends
from
how
BLG.
deep they go, though, because Zeka's almost dead. Shanks gets the root up, Lyric. Am I seeing this again? BiuBiu flashes over the wall. Aiming has to now group up as Zeka only manages to survive. ppgod runs down the lane while Elk is here. The final hour, BiuBiu gets a good ulti, but everyone's gone. Lyric, why does it keep happening in the same place?
I don't know, and the thing is, I still think that the decision to use Herald is fine. Like you're saying, overcommitting to get more damage down on the turret, while 3 members of WE are showing in front of you. WE did commit a TP, but you also got, you know, flashes on the opposite side as well as a kill for yourself. No objectives on the maps. You're not going to be able to turn it into anything, but still, WeiWei committing a little bit too far, and Zeka even trying to get some damage on the turret. But again, Shanks, Missing, and Beishang are all right in front of you, creating a little bit just for a little bit of gold. Sure, inner turret gold was buffed, but still definitely not anything to throw away your lives over, as Breathe did TP in, and then Elk coming around from the other side does just secure the kill onto BiuBiu. Like we said, though, no objective on the map, so not going to really turn into anything more.
But we know what we've seen in the series so far is that for BLG, it starts with one moment. And to be fair, this game, I think BLG have been a lot more proactive. We've seen a lot more aggression coming through as well. They still have that Viego who's in a great position, so I'm going to hold it for now. I'm going to wait for the next couple of objectives, Lyric, because it is a Cloud Soul in this third game. The first time we're getting a Cloud Soul here tonight. And I want to get your expectations on what we should be seeing in the next couple of Dragons, because WE don't have any, but it is still only a Cloud Soul.
You know, just real quick, when you said for BLG it starts with, I could have swore you were going to go with the shocks.
No.
You know, it starts with success. No. But what's happening is WE now aggressively walking forward to secure this vision. They do see KEnnen on bot wave. Shanks now here, so they are group 5-man strong around mid lane. So just trying to secure vision on the Baron side of the map. I don't think they should be able to find too much more, so Shanks correctly walking back up towards top side to get that pushed out. We know Breeze should be heading back down towards spot to catch the way that KEnnen is pushing out. And just a little bit of trade of like tempo and for the ability to get vision down on the Baron. But with Dragon coming up in 40 seconds, feels like that will be the ultimate prize. If BLG can pick this one up, this would be their third Dragon, so at least getting closer to a soul and having more of a win condition to play towards in the late game than we've seen them have in these past 2 games after the mistakes that they've made.
That's true. But give them something to smile about, especially here when their back's up against the wall. Remember, if BLG lose this series, lose this game, then they will not have a chance at Worlds. They are eliminated, they're out. But for WE, this matters so much, gives them a lifeline and gives them the chance to beat RA next Friday. If they can do that, they secure top 4. Shanks over the wall. He's found Zeka. But Zeka is still just going to commit to the back as Shanks goes back to the wave. For now, nothing much, but remember Dragon, remember those TPs from the mid laners. We're going to start watching.
Yeah, now we're having a lot of brawling in the mid lane. Elk already getting taken pretty low from the poke coming out from aiming. Both mid laners do have TP, so they both can be your W. Instantly going to turn onto this Dragon.
Oh, good solar flare onto the cleanse. They're looking for Elk, trying to position away. There's the TP in the back line. Lissandra over the wall with a glacial path. Breed can't get the stun up as Jungle goes in. BiuBiu with the slicing Maelstrom only onto Beishang. That's what matters. The Vanguard's edge a little bit late here as Dragon secured onto Soul Point. Now WE losing more. The Heartbreaker in the middle. WE left soulless after being exploded.
And now BLG might even be able to get more off this, right? You have 3 members down, Baron's on the table. You can make your way up towards top side right now and get a more definitive advantage in the late game than we've seen BLG have all series. This can be what BLG need to be able to start bringing the series back.
They need it more than ever. BLG onto the Baron now. Pings going down from Elk and Shanks. Beishang up in a couple of seconds as he is now missing there too. But Lyric, this Baron's going down mighty fast.
The thing is, Shanks is also half HP.
Pulling off.
I'm surprised. BLG still going to pull off. I think the fact that, you know, the death timers are coming up, not going to risk it, but I would be afraid for Shanks if he did overcommit for something like distorting in, throwing out a Sigil of Malice, and him just instantly getting turned and burned. Still, nice job by W to prevent that one. And Beishang is a bit surprising to me. Goes in very early onto the Dragon, throws an ult. I wonder if he was just feeling the pressure of taking Dragon or instantly going onto WeiWei, but it instantly turns into a 4v5. BLG, I think, are definitely favored because you still have a bunch of ultimates open, right? Zeka able to go in, get the Frozen Tomb down, secure one for himself, and it opens up for Heartbreaker City coming out from WeiWei, who we've highlighted all game long on how ahead he is in this jungle matchup. Yep. Really felt like Beishang getting a bit of ahead of himself in that one.
Yeah, he was. I mean, for Beishang, you know, we talk about him leading the charge for WE. We always have. It's how WE operate, you know, through this jungle and why it was such a big highlight. WeiWei this time around. Really facilitating the narrative we set up, Lyric, where jungle v jungle's been important. In these fights, WeiWei is going to be the one we talk about more here. As BLG, we're back to live. They didn't pick up the Baron, but they have the 1k gold lead. They are now on Soul Point, folks, with 3 minutes to start thinking about threatening that Dragon. All on 2 items here with the Blade of the Ruin King, Viego. They are ahead, and WE are playing so defensive in their own jungle.
And I think WE really needs to rely on the pressure they can generate through sides, because when you look at BLG's comp, right, Slicing Maelstrom, just Lissandra's whole kit in general, yes, aiming to be able to stay at a distance and put out damage, when you hit on earlier, champions like Irelia, champions like LeBlanc, Sinzo, all of them are going to be jumping into those situations. So as WE, it's going to be a little bit more dicey as how to play, and we are finally seeing a pick on side lanes.
Zeka, there's a Glacial Path, double root, not going to be landing. But there is enough damage there to warrant a bit of a disarray from WE. Backing through, WeiWei ppgod now still aggressive. Breeze still on the bottom side. Lyric trying to catch Zeka. I mean, WE still trying to be proactive here in this game.
WE at least realize where they need to find their windows back into the game and where they need to get their advantages, right? They are only not even 2k gold down, actually, so it's not the end of the world for them. True. But I think BLG's comp definitely has a lot of good tools to deal with what WE have drafted. The big player we're going to be keeping our eyes on this game for WE is Elk, because Elk is not only a Vayne, he's a member that got accelerated. He is the one that you are going to be peeling for and playing towards, who hopefully can be able to take down these members. The thing is, with Zeka and ppgod, you just should have such a good way of being able to get onto someone like Elk or someone like Breed, instantly take them out, and then have those numbers in your favor, setting up for aiming to just be able to output free damage on this Ezreal. So where we look at WE's comp, right, you don't have a great way of just getting on top of aiming. Sure, maybe Shanks are really fine to flank, but BLG have done such a good job at controlling vision and not letting things like that happen. It's pretty much your only avenue is WE to take him out.
Comes back to the story we talked about, 80 carries here. mean, the Ezreal for aiming, he's played so much, he's had such a good success story, but late game carry for BLG has always been aiming. It's always been about this AD the longer the game goes on. 25 minutes in, we are slowly getting towards that point as aiming starting to hurt a little bit more. As they group up around mid as well. That's a 5-stack from BLG, trying to force in a turret and go further.
BLG realizing where they're strong, right? Not wanting to contest LeBlanc up in that top half of the map. Does look like they're going to end up dropping one wave. Dragon, though, coming up in 50 seconds. I would love to see more vision come out from BLG on the bottom side of the map. You look at the mini-map, and there really isn't too much right now. You have one control ward in River, but that is about it. 40 seconds on the board. Reset's already coming out from WE, so they should be poised to be able to stay on the map a bit longer and start contesting this. Oh,
that's
are they going to do this?
This is early, but it's not expected. I mean, WE, how are they getting away with this? Zeka's pushing top lane, and it's going down fastest than Irelia with 2 items, Lyric.
What do you mean? How are they getting away with this? How would you ever guess this, right? Like, you have Irelia, you have Zhao doing Baron, you have the other 3 members showing them up. They got it, Hysterics. They got it.
Well, it doesn't matter. They did get it. They got away with it, and they did well. WE are going to sneak a Baron. The Yumi Cat goes out, and that's a buff that's just popped up in front of BLG's face.
BLG are going to get Soul, so obviously most people's eyes, right? Trading Baron for Soul, not the best trade when Soul does obviously last forever. I think for WE, though, it was the right choice. They were very conscious that they cannot go for this fight right now. If they take this fight, they lose. So instead, going for the sneak play. Now, the fact that we've been talking about them having pressure through sides and having champions like Irelia and LeBlanc, can they use the fact that they will be able to push waves to pull you apart, pull you across the map, find picks, whittle down turrets, and find the lead they need? Or BLG, do they just say, screw it, maybe answer, 1 or 2 waves right now? We already see KEnnen pushing out Viego on the opposite side, and then just do that 5-man stack towards mid and try really hard to force something.
Well, right now, Mystic just sitting with the wave while Shanks is clearing out jungle camps. So, waiting for this Baron to be utilized. 2 minutes. And it gives WE a chance here in this game. And again, like, we got to come back. Gold is even, and Gold wasn't even that far away, but BLG felt like they were in control. BLG have felt like this game number 3 is going to extend the series. But his goal is back even. The Cloud Soul now something WE have to think about. And Elk sitting in the bottom lane. Lanes right now, Lyric, looking a little bit janky with WE not getting past the river, apart from that bottom lane.
I mean, WE will never be able to control, mid-wave. Because for BLG, they're going to consistently be playing as a stack. We're going to see Elk.
He has cleanse. BiuBiu's waiting for the cavalry to come through now. Spotted out. Beishang's on the wing, though. But BLG are going to find him first. Going for BiuBiu. He buys time with the Zhonyas. But BLG have the rest in now. Top lane is going to go down. Elk gets the kill. Trades off his life. But look at Bree top with Baron.
Yeah, I mean, Bree's going to be able to find the push. It is a 1-for-1 in the end, so Elk able to get something out of pushing so deep into enemy territory. Looks like it's going to be 2 turrets for the side of WE, but I don't think that's enough to really be able to turn it into anything. Still, though, massive props to WE to playing this style. I think it is, much harder in terms of execution of like, hey, well, for BLG, they can't just group up. They can't just run at you, feel comfortable in that style. They have the tools to deal with you. They have so much CC. To where WE takes more coordination. It takes more thought of what are you willing to lose for what you're able to gain.
Oh, okay.
Wait.
Well, Shanks is dead. I'm not sure.
How?
Oh, Lyric, I'm going to put this out there. We're going to see a replay in a second, but Shanks took too many turret shots mid. Maybe he was backing in the wrong location and just got true shot barraged.
That is probably the best guess by far. Nice to have Apathetics back on the broadcast.
Thank you.
No.
Here we go.
Okay, there we go. We get the replay. You're right. Yep.
He's got a ward.
That BLG vision control, baby. We talked about it earlier.
And he sits in the brush. He knows he's in the brush. And here it comes. And we don't get to see it because Breeze has just killed BiuBiu. Wait. That's the top laner down. Another turret down. Unfortunately, you don't get to see the snipe, but we get to see another kill at the end of it.
And it just both teams committing to opposite sides. WE going full on bot. You look at top wave right now. 2 members of BLG just pushed that up. No skirmishes out just yet. But guess what, guys? 2 minutes and 53 seconds. We have an Elder Drake.
Yes,
you cannot give up or avoid Elder Drake. So these teams are going to finally get to meet. It's been, a few weeks of chatting online. They're gonna have their first face-to-face meeting. I'm not gonna like equate this to dating because I had someone send me a screenshot of, because of how much me and you make dating analogies, I was like, man, LPL casters must be down bad, which is true, but we're going to get into a replay as we're going to see BiuBiu forced to flash. Vanguard's edge comes out. Nice pillar by missing to set it all up as we, with a nice smooth transition away from that point.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, you just called me down bad. Thank you so much.
Whoa. I called us down bad.
Us. Okay, well, look, fair enough. I'm gonna bring us closer towards the Elder because Lyric, at this point, I want to point out Breathe is 300 CS. He has Flame Horizon BiuBiu in this game. He's 3 levels ahead. And while you're talking about Elk in this game, I actually think we need to look at the Irelia as well. Like, Breathe is huge and controlling side waves while WE control the rest.
Yeah, and that's a great point, right? Because Breathe has been able to have this impact by opting out of team fights. Breathe probably wouldn't be a focus if we saw him running headfirst into a Lissandra, into a KEnnen, into Leona. But he's done a good job of realizing how to play the game. He's kept it a 1v1 against the KEnnen. Yep. We know when you are AP KEnnen as compared to, like back in the day when we did have some AD KEnnen, you are just relying on cooldowns. You are relying on burst and just being able to deal as much damage in one combo in a team fight. You aren't able to look for these sustained trades back and forth with Breathe, who did pick up the earlier Wit's End, has Hysterics gauge now on top of the Guardian Angel, so has a ton of sustain, has a ton of magic resist, and will always be able to win out in the 1v1 against either one of BLG's soul laners.
Which is absolutely massive when this series has been equated to top laners. Maybe not in the game itself, but the story we set out. There's a lot of narratives today, folks, and if you haven't tracked them all, I mean, we talked about juggles, we talked about mids and tops in this game, even what AD carries do in the late game, because we are at that late game point now. 32 minutes in, ppgod off the wing. WE have found him. There's a good flawless duet. They jump on in with the Vanguard's edge. Breathe has now joined the fight. He's getting low though, remember, with the G8 is BiuBiu. His ulti means nothing. Breathe is low, but still alive and ticking. A double kill coming through. Lyric, BLG get wiped. That's great damage, but aiming can't control the rest. Zeka can't do the rest. On to Elk, another GA. WE want it bad.
And WE sold all members up. They have TPs available. They can just look to funnel through mid lane. Aiming is alive, does have some wave clear. I'm not sure if WE have the waves to do this, but that timer is still decently long, and nope, they're gonna back off. I think the fact that Elder is up in 10 seconds completely trumps... Wait. Are we going towards Baron?
They're doing Baron, Lyric. They're going to do this fast with the Vayne, but for Beishang, he'll have to reset, right?
That's what I'm wondering. Elder now up on the map. I mean, the members of WE are going to be up. WeiWei and BiuBiu coming up right now. Zeka up
Back
in
quick.
15 seconds.
Okay.
I don't know if this is the time for a replay, observers, as we're going to go straight into it. We see that WE find their window right onto ppgod, right? And I feel like a massive thing in here is we talked about the tools, right? BiuBiu's ultimate and Zeka's ultimate. BiuBiu's ultimate is really on no one. Only Breathe is taking that one. He has Hysterics gauge. He has Guardian Angel. It was really on to no one else. Zeka had used his ultimate defensively here, not having these big zoning tools available to be able to take the fight. But Hysterics, I want to know what's going on at Elder!
I do. Let's bring it back. Okay. Everyone spawned back up in your right. Getting Baron may be a silly decision because this 5v5 is going to be more even than WE would have liked. We're here to see if WE can lock in a regional qualifying position, lock out BLG. And Shank's getting poked over the wall makes me a bit more sus. Onto the Dragon. We begin.
Look at Breathe, though. Breathe's on the flank. Breathe's on the flank. We got to keep our eyes
out
on this Irelia.
He doesn't have flash, but he has the Vanguard's edge. Level 18 with the blast cone. His ulti means everything. Zeka into the back line as well. Breathe now here. Zeka gets 2, but Breathe again. You got to watch that Vanguard's edge. Running amok in the back line. Aiming still untouched, but Breathe is full HP. The Irelia on top for aiming goes golden, while Elk still survives in the back line. Beishang a hit away. The true shot barrage means nothing. They've got it. Misting and Breathe still chasing after BLG, who've lost 3 members.
And what looked, missing. You got to be a little bit careful. Giving aim and kills for free is not the play. We're still going to see WE just funnel into bottom lane. They are all half HP, but they have Elder. They have Baron available. They can look for the push. They have the execute.
Well, Lyric, it's been 4 years since they made regional qualifiers. And I got to bring this up again. If WE can win this game, they do it. They knock down BLG. They set themselves up with a lifeline. And WE look better than they have since they had 957 on the roster. But they will not be able to push for now. We hold our breath. We wait as the Solar Flare comes through. And Aiming's trying to carry on to Beishang, even with the Elder. They have to be careful. The turnaround's there.
Beishang!
Aiming. He runs back on in with Elk and Breathe behind him. There's the flash. The double execute comes through. The third. Breathe Breathe sets himself up with a triple, but Zeka comes back in. A bit over-ambitious as Elk kiting away on top of BiuBiu. He can. One executes there onto Elk. Another tumble. Back on into Zeka. He plays with fire, but doesn't get burned.
And now Shank's funneling down mid lane, not actually going to look for it. I thought he was going to try and make his way towards this part of the map, maybe look for a kill on Zeka, but still such a back and forth skirmish. Beishang seeing the opportunity to turn. They do have the Elder, they do have the Execute available. Maybe Aiming could have been able to make a hero play here, but keep your eyes on the Zhao, just goes for it. Incredibly low. Look at Aiming's health bar right now, so close to the execution point, and then Breathe closes the distance with his Q, throws out the W, picks up another one. But Zeka and BiuBiu are up in time. Elk almost pulling it off. Maybe people thinking back to the Danny clip we all saw this morning, or if you watched it live in LCS. Elk not able to do it though. The E does come up for Zeka, and he's able to secure that kill. And in the end, BLG find a way to survive. But man, almost a 10k gold lead for WE after all of those shenanigans.
I mean, we just look up because there's been so many kills. ppgod is going to be hit by a pillar here. Shanks passes his judgment. Remember that on top of the gold score as well, at 36 minutes, we have 45 kills. If LPL is not your pre-dinner requisite, wherever you are, or breakfast, you know, this would get you started for a day, Lyric. This blood, I don't know if people are not cynical, what's the word? Sadistic. But this is how I'd like to start. Shanks running away. Everfrost there, BiuBiu as well with the follow-up, but the rest of WE are hiding. Let's take a second, because the chaos seems to stop. And I'm going to bring us back to what's important at hand, which is Baron in 2 minutes, another Elder in 3 minutes 20. And we're getting to full builds here in this game as we're fast approaching 70,000, 80,000 gold.
Yeah, key thing, 3 members right now looks like are on full build. It is Elk, Breathe, and Aiming. So for WE having more strong members, we've already hit on how Breathe has been that constant pressure point on the map, that constant annoyance for BLG to deal with. You're right, huh? Surprisingly, having no Mythic. Full build. I mean, a ton of sustain coming out in terms of Death's Dance, Hysterics, Gage, Wit's End. Seems like just trying to survive as long as he can in these extended fights. And even looking towards mid lane for someone like Shanks, having the Rabadon's Death Cap available, so a ton of burst. I think you have a pretty nice damage portfolio on the sides of WE in terms of like AP to AD, in terms of like burst to DPS. For the side of BLG, we've hit on so much about the tools they have available to them. If they can find those really clumped group fights, WE just have not given to them yet, and they've done a nice job of being able to pick off members like ppgod once again, once skirmishes start, members like BiuBiu. And now we're going to see if they are able to do it. For BLG, though, I don't know if they'll be able to get BiuBiu involved because he has to keep answering side waves. And WE know that, so trying to set up for the pick, but not able to find it.
I mean, this Irelia clears waves instantly, right? Able to push through. Shanks on the wing as well for a very exposed bottom side of the map. Missing an Elk, hovering together. And this is where it all comes down to. I feel like we're going to snap the camera down bottom as Missing dodges away from the Everfrost. Everything on the line for BLG. Their fans actually shaking right now as they try and bring back a game number 3. Again, the gold lead almost 10,000 here. Zeka on his defense. And Shanks and Breathe forced out of the brush. Those death timers, sorry, Baron timers at 10 seconds to go, Lyric.
And WE just continuously trying to make this double solo lane play onto BiuBiu. They do have double TP, right? So it doesn't matter if they're showing 2 members on the bot side of the map if this happens, because they can make their way around. And now I actually think BLG have to back off and answer this. They're sending Zeka here to deal with it, but WE definitely have a strong 2v2.
Well, it depends. Is BiuBiu going to be alive by the time he gets there? Glacial Path not taken. Just trying to buy some space as the Banshee failed. Hold true without the Flawless Duet interrupting. But look, pings are going down. This is a 3v3, and Elk is fighting the Solar Flare in the backline, but it's a Vayne. It's Aiming versus Elk with double TPs on the side. Chaos begins. Shanks though with his angle can double distortion as ppgod. The first to die while missing is keeping BiuBiu away. Breathe comes in. He wants to end it here, Lyric. WE, they've got a date with Rare Adam to catch.
And WE just popping off so much. They find the angle, they find the 3v3, and they set up Elk for success.
And another one coming through. BiuBiu with his ulti, but it's way too late. The KEnnen sent up to the mountains. BLG sent to the fountain. And WE are going to look for their last kill of the series. BiuBiu between a pillar while Shanks keeps him busy. For the first time in 4 years, WE return to the regional qualifiers and move to the top 6 with Rare Adam next Friday.
And we have no idea where it's going to end for WE. That's 2 3-0s in a row in LPL playoffs. Definitely coming in heavy favorites against OMG, but this series, I think, was anyone's guess in terms of who could have won it out. Even these 3 games, right? It's a 3-0. This was a very close 3-0. I think just seeing the scoreline doesn't really do the series justice in terms of how close it was. But W, at the end of the day, they've shown that they can have extremely great laning phases in Snowball. They've shown they can battle through adversity, fall behind, and be able to take a win. And now moving on to Rare Adam, I mean, a ton of momentum in their corner.
It's huge because WE against OMG, people thought it could be close. There's a couple of question marks in that series as well. A 3-0. Against BLG here today, where there were even more question marks. We talked about BLG being the highest seed. A 3-0. WE have not dropped a single game in playoffs so far, and they are making the run. The bottom side of the bracket, we said, you know, whoever comes through is going to have a pretty easy run of it, but a lot of people didn't expect WE. And now knocking out BLG, you're right, against Rare Adam, maybe it's a different story, but WE, let's say it again, they have momentum, and they have been decisive, Lyric. WE have been decisive.
WE were very flexible in terms of mid and late game, how to play out the game, right? They can scrap, they can team fight, they can try and play out through side lanes, find these picks, get vision. It was so nice to see. And on the opposite side for BLG, right? We saw some really good early games come out. Their first 15 minutes, I mean, across the series, it was better than Team WE's, but not able to hold it together. It felt like, especially in this last game, right, a lot was on the shoulders of aiming on this Ezreal, especially in that last 3v3 where you think, hey, there isn't really any hard engage on the side of WE. You should be able to kite this out. You should be able to, you know, find ways to outplay this. And then I think BiuBiu and ppgod having some disappointing moments as well was rough to watch. For BLG, like you said, we talked on it. They're out. They are done. No more chance for them in terms of either playoffs or regional finals. They did a good run, I think. Some people had them making it this far with the fact that they bought, you know, those core players from B5. Some people didn't have the highest expectations for them, but still making it to playoffs, getting seeded into round 2. Definitely a respectable finish for an org who hasn't been here in so many years. Since
2019 summer, you said it yourself. The BLG, I mean, their greatest split, let's just say, was, you know, we go back and maybe it was back when they were IMA, when they actually went to Worlds, of course, different organization, but I feel like this is a real stab in the shoulder. It's an awkward place to get stabbed, but it's annoying, isn't it? And you got to go back to the drawing board and realize how you're going to cover a wound that means you can't raise your left arm.
I was going to say, I feel like if you get stabbed in the shoulder, you don't go back to the drawing board. I feel like you go to the hospital, but that might just be me. And, you know, for WE, they're not going to the hospital. They just completely body BLG. They're going to the next round of playoffs facing RA, and now you're looking at these matchups, right? RNG, LNG, RA, WE, FPX, and EDG. W is a team, personally, halfway to the split, I counted them out for playoffs. Even when they were going on that insane run, it just felt like maybe you're questioning things like Shanks' champion pool. You're questioning their play around objectives was very questionable earlier on in the split. And I feel like they really did rely a lot on, in terms of like, either out mechanicking or out team fighting enemy teams to be able to find wins. But it feels like WF definitely improved and diversified as the split has went on. And that's something even Elk was saying in the interview early on. It's something we can definitely tangibly see on the Rift.
I mean, improvement in the bottom lane. I think missing back in action is a really big one for me, Lyric. I remember, you know, you and I have had this conversation many times. 2019 spring and even summer, Missing was one of my favorite supports. He was a top 3 support in the LPL alongside people like Lumel. He was such a good thresh, and seeing him on Trundle in those games, seeing his support games, today he was a real true MVP for me. I think quite consistent in what we saw.
He had an impact, which I think, you know, matters, right? We think of games like the Rel game, you know, extremely good coming out from him, some really clutch pillars, and especially he's Missing, who we've continuously defined as the weakest link on WE, the one who tends to throw away games when there is a member who does mess up. The fact that he's able to come in, have a positive impact on the series, and facilitate someone like Elk to pop off, I think is a big win for someone like Missing. And, you know, we've hit on so much, like, highlighting every member. But when you 3-0 a team, right, typically there's going to be shining lights for each person on the roster. So I think it does make a bit of sense. I think for WE, the fact that they're now showing us playing more around bot side, showing us some differences in their draft, it is quite exciting to follow where this team's going to go into the next round.
Because the world's their oyster. Against RA even, I don't know, Lyric. I'm not 100% sure on that one because A lot of people are going to be favoring RA, but with the momentum from WE, with how good they've looked through playoffs, I think anything's possible here, and it would then push them into top 4, which for WE fans, they wouldn't be this excited since 2017. That's why I brought it up in game, because that was one of the first LPL teams I watched. 2017 WE with 957, Shie, Mystic. We had 0 missing in the bottom lane.
Isn't that crazy that even coming into 2020, right? I think whenever you thought about WE, those were the names you thought of. But it feels like quickly, like as we're moving more and more time, we're starting to think about, okay, when you think of WE, what do I think of? I think of Beishang. I think, I was thinking of Missing. I was thinking of like Jomung, now Elk. And it's cool that they're once again finding this core that they want to build around and gear towards for the future. As we do hear our MVP, I don't think it's a surprise to anyone. This man pulled out the Vayne once again. Elk picking up an MVP. I think pretty solid play coming out in team fights, pretty solid play coming out in that bottom lane, and well-deserved MVP coming out from him.
It really was, and coming just to the end of your conversation, I want to point out the one player you didn't mention, which was Breathe, that he had a really good game 3 on this Irelia after getting bullied up early. Like, Breathe Irelia gets a huge mention here in these fights after finally joining up with 100 CS advantage and blasting BLG.
I mean, exceptional performance this time around, which is kind of weird that we're talking about it during the MVP, but still, I agree. It had to be brought up. There was no time. This was the time to do it, but point is, even plays like this, right? Him, Breathe going in, setting up 4 members like Elk to have these moments where he can try and turn the fight. Really great to see.
Whoa.
Is that how you would do it, Hysterics?
That's how I would play it? No. Dude, I couldn't sidestep anything in my life, I see a glacial path and I walk into it. I see an Irelia and I walk into the flawless duet. So, no. Elk definitely gets big regards there in that game. A triple kill to end out. But more importantly, his second MVP in this series. And it's Elk MVP. It's Shanks with another MVP. 2 core members. That it's funny when you think about WE. You're right. You do think of Beishang. You think of Breathe. But this series was all about Elk. It started with Shanks as well, who were about to MVP lyrics. So WE changing